So welcome everybody to this webinar on Coaching Creates a Safer Workplace. My name is James Neville. I'm the Commercial Director at Performance Consultants International. We are the world leader in creating a coaching culture in the workplace, and we especially specialize in applying coaching to practical situations in the workplace. Of which safety is a very good fit. We wanted to work with Linde, or to partner with Linde, should I say, in sort of behaviour-based safety services, as their approach was very much around a shift in their culture, in their entire culture, as opposed to just a rollout of training programs. So I'd like to introduce Kai. Kai, maybe talk a little bit more. Introduce yourself.
Thank you, James. And hello to everyone, and thanks for joining our nice little webinar today. Yeah, I'm Kai Gransee. I'm heading the construction HSE group within Linde Engineering. So basically, me and my team, we're taking care of the safety performance on our construction sites globally. Linde Engineering, a few words, we build gas processing plants to produce, for example, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, ethylene, or we also treat natural gas. Typically for our customers in the oil, gas, chemical, petrochemical industries. Besides construction, we are also having manufacturing, research development, facility management, and so on. So I'm from construction, so please forgive me. I will mainly talk about our experience in the construction area, but more or less, let's say the same, principles apply also to our other areas of operation. Actually, I want to take you on a journey throughout Linde Engineering's most recent HSE history, which started in 2014. As many companies, and I think most of your companies are, we found ourselves in a status, let's say, where we had written, or we at least felt we had written all the procedures, all the policies. We had done all the trainings at least twice or even more. But we saw an impact. We saw incident rates improved, but still we knew there is something more. So we still were struggling with some incidents, maybe not the worst, maybe not the most severe ones, but still a number of incidents, always more or less of the same kind. And we knew there is something more in it for us. And we wanted to address the real issues in safety, which is somehow around behavior, culture, leadership, and all these things. And we knew in order to make a new progress, we have to go on different and new ways. So actually, we started off designing, and we wanted to design and implement a behavior-based safety program. But it shouldn't just be, let's say, some tick the box exercises, some checklists, some data-driven processes. But we knew in order to really make a significant improvement, we have to tackle topics like safety culture. And since we know that the gatekeepers for safety culture are our leaders, we wanted just to increase visible leadership. So more activities by leaders, more involvement, more engagement, and especially improve, let's say, their safety interactions they have on a daily basis. So increasing quantity, but especially also, let's say, increasing the quality, the effectiveness of these interactions they already have and they will have in future. And throughout the process, very early, a phrase developed somehow, I can't even remember, but we set it as our target to create the safest place to work in the world, which inspired us throughout our journey over the years to come. We will go more into the details when it comes to the results at the end of the presentation, but I also already want to share with you the highlights of our achievement. So we indeed significantly increased our leadership engagements, both in frequency and even more important, in efficiency. This, let's say, came along with outstanding positive feedbacks from our leaders. So our target group, we call them the leaders, are managers and supervisors of the various areas we're working in, but also the workers that received this different kind of leadership and communication. they responded very positively. We made a significant step towards a more interdependent safety culture. So when we started, I know I'm sure you're aware of these various levels of safety culture. So dependent, independent, interdependent. Where we started, we were typically in the dependent stage. So a lot of regulations, a lot of instructions were our day-to-day leadership style and operations. And we made a significant step forward here. And in safety, always we look at lagging indicators also, if we like it or not. But I also want to mention here briefly that we are really proud to have achieved for the first time last year 0 lost time injuries on our construction sites globally. So, but let's start at the very beginning. 2014, we actually started with a market screening, looking around what is already available on the market for our behavior-based safety approach. As I said, we really wanted to look for something that is attractive for our leaders, which they will like, which they will apply, and it shouldn't be just another safety program as we've had so many over the years. So really something attractive. And we looked at, let's say, the usual suppliers. I think you might know them. Some come, let's say, from the industry, maybe from the chemical industry. Some are focused on, let's say, consulting and support in this area. Big organizations, smaller organizations, psychologists, and so on. And let's say we were a bit struggling. On the one hand, these turned out, let's say, very often to be very safety specific, safety only, let's say, programs and concepts. And we were always asking ourselves, will a leader accept that in the area of safety performance, he has to apply this specific program, this specific processes, and knowing that these leaders are also, let's say, responsible for other areas of performance, not only safety, but quality, schedule, cost, and so on. So why should they apply in safety something they obviously cannot use in other areas? And also we found a lot of programs that were very process and data driven, a lot around observations, checklists, data, a lot of analytics. And somewhere in the background, there's also leadership and communication, but it's not really in the focus. The focus was more on these other things. And so where is really leadership and communication? And so we weren't quite convinced that these programs might help us. Certainly they have success and then they are certainly used and maybe also quite successful, but we were looking obviously for something different. Sometimes in life you need some lucky circumstances to have a breakthrough and to make progress. And these lucky circumstances in this project was that I got a new team member who joined us in 2014, and he was already on a private coaching journey, not for professional life or business. So he just wanted to enrich his life to do something different, and he passed already, I think, the first 2 courses with performance consultants in London, and he just maybe he had a feeling that could help us, and he recommended to me, or let's say he pushed me boarding the plane and going to London and spent 2 days there on their very first course, coaching for performance level 1. And yeah, what should I say? I still remember these 2 days as being the most valuable days I ever spent in a classroom for the development. And that's where actually everything started. That's the time to talk a bit about coaching. So basically what I've learned in these 2 days, I try to summarize here. I know it's impossible, but hopefully I can give you a glance on what I learned over there. First thing I learned, and you can see at the bottom of the page, I linked an article I recently found on LinkedIn. Most managers don't know how to coach people, but they can learn. So, and this is so true. I learned that I have no clue about what coaching really is. We all also in the safety arena, we hear a lot about coaching, but something more than it's a nice conversation, and it's maybe not instructing with something different, you hardly hear. But I also learned that it can be learned, and since 2014, I'm learning every day. So what are they telling us? For example, this coaching definition here at the top of the screen. Coaching is unlocking a person's potential. And I started thinking about, is there some relation to safety? And I thought, does every person have the potential to work safe? And I said, yes, yeah, okay. And coaching obviously can unlock it. That's good. And they say to maximize their own performance. So how often do we talk in safety about performance? And they're saying coaching is a style, a tool, a technique which can maximize also obviously safety performance. And then it helps them learn rather than teaching them. So, and then I realized, wow, what are we doing in safety is more or less always teaching. Yeah? Every instruction, every training that we do is around teaching. But when you ask yourself how much learning is involved, then you realize that it's obviously quite limited. So at this point, it was, I think, at around lunchtime at the first day, I started making the connection between safety and coaching. Then it goes into the skills, and it seems to be quite easy. So the skills the coach has, besides having the right, let's say, mindset, believing in the potential, is asking powerful questions. And then obviously when you ask questions, active listening. So basically, obviously nothing more. And instead of teaching and talking, asking questions and then listening, a coach, by doing this, raises the awareness. And there is the other connection. How often do we talk about safety awareness and that we are struggling with safety awareness? Every incident investigation stops with lack of safety awareness. So raising awareness, generating responsibility. So that obviously means you coach, and then your coachee, the one you're talking to, takes responsibility to take further action, and it obviously creates learning. So a lot of good ideas, a lot of connections I made, and then basically I went back. I talked to my colleague, I talked to the board, we got an agreement, we got a budget, we talked to the Works Council, and then we said, okay, let's do it. And our plan was to merge professional coaching by performance consultants, as we heard the leaders, the world leaders in creating a coaching, creating a coaching style in organizations, and safety by Linde. So bringing the two experts together, and we merged the best of two worlds. What we actually did, we created a training program because coaching must be learned. So we created from scratch. We took some videos in various places in manufacturing on our sites. We created a new workshop because e-learning, online learning cannot be everything. That was for sure. So we created a core group of our Be Safe leaders. By the way, the program, we named it Be Safe, behavior-based safety. And we created a program, so one more written procedure where we actually described the program, but also really made activities mandatory for our leaders. So we, of course, on the one hand, we had a lot of trust that they will do, but on the other hand, we also wanted them really to be active, and they were demanded with these procedures, which is applicable for all construction sites, to, let's say, deliver, to do their safety dialogues, to do workplace inspections, to deliver toolbox talks. And leading indicators, we created also leading indicators, let's say, to measure this. So that would be certainly a topic for another seminar about talking about leading indicators, but at the same time we did this. The implementation, we trained more than 1,200 managers and supervisors from construction, commissioning, manufacturing, and project execution. Here you see some pictures from our workshops, which are very interactive, and the people learn how they can apply coaching. So first of all, what is coaching? How can I ask powerful questions and so on, and then how to do this in the area of safety. And on all of our sites, we integrated or we implemented then this Be Safe program. And on the right side, you see, as an example, we saw then managers, leaders, supervisors going out and having their coaching conversations, delivering toolbox talks, doing workplace inspections on their own, and so on. The results, a little bit more in detail. The training, especially the workshops that we did, without exaggeration, 100% of our participants, the more than 200 participants, recommend these trainings to others. And more than that, they're not only satisfied with the training, but there is really a high energy level in the room, and they can't really wait to leave the training room and start the implementation. So some of the feedbacks we received, which were typical for what we experienced, for example, why haven't I done this years ago, was one feedback, or also the most well thought out training program I've ever been involved with. The feedback and the results for the whole program, as I said, significant improvement of visible leadership on sites. So not comparable to the years before. We see them especially doing more and doing it also more efficient. So they not just only go out and talk and teach and instruct them. No, they have coaching dialogues. They ask powerful questions, and they create and they raise the awareness. They generate responsibilities and learning. I'm also not exaggerating saying that they like it. So they see it is an eye opener for them. It is something which helps them to cope with this task, safety responsibility. Very good also is, and which makes it easy, that the process has a good start and then continues to be even better after a few days and weeks. They very quickly receive great feedback. So when they start talking, the workers typically are very passive and rejecting, and then all these discussions that come up, and we end up having nice positive discussions, good relationship building, and we see obviously a shift in safety culture. Some of the most important feedbacks, they know everything. So meaning, guys, before we were talking to them as if they know nothing, but now where we ask them questions, I learned they know everything. So very simple statement, but obviously very surprising for our guys. And this is what I heard not only once. Then also what happened, the guys not only use it in safety, but that was certainly our dream that this will expand into other areas. And the quality guy, for example, who was also part in the safety training in the workshop, he said, I also use it now in quality. A statement or a feedback from India without having asked for, I suddenly received a statement, implementation has brought a cultural change. Surprisingly, also productivity increased. So that's an indication that also not only safety performance is impacted, but also, let's say, other area like here, productivity. And my most famous statement is this one. And Linde is teaching us to use our brains since October. Now we are using it. So it sounds funny and sounds very simple, but basically, what else do we want? So if we get, this was a statement from a contractor, when they have the awareness now, take the responsibility to think before they do anything, and think the job through regarding risk and everything, nothing more we wanted to achieve by this.
Actually, Kai, I love that last statement, by the way. Just to jump in, actually say, if anyone has any questions, do put your questions in the Q&A box. That's the Q&A box. You can find it on the right-hand side in the bar at the bottom. It'd be great to have your questions. Okay, thanks.
Perfect, James. Look at some hard facts, some data. So we're talking about last year, 25 construction sites all over the world. More than 7 million man hours. So just to give you an impression about the numbers. So around about 30 leaders AGC activities per month we see. So every leader on average is doing 30 of these kind of activities, workplace inspections and so on per month on our construction sites. We do quality checks. So 69.5% means nearly every leader is subject to a quality check per month. So we want to make sure that they not fall back into old habits, but they are coached by a more experienced safety coach. And we are really keen that we really do coaching and not instructing. Our index, our leading indicator overall, increased, so which is also an indicator that there's a lot more things and the good things are happening. And as I said, we did an assessment of a safety culture at the very beginning. We had DuPont involved. They classified as being dependent. And after, I think, 2.5 years of implementation of the new BeSafe program, we did an in-house safety culture assessment. It's not the same, let's say, quality, but let's say we were, really interested in where we are, and we saw a great development into the independent area. Lagging indicators I showed you already, I told about it already. Sorry, LTI rate went down to 0, and also our total recordable rate was improved by 37%. So it's time to come to an end. My voice is struggling. Okay, this is the last slide. I just want to summarize. It is easy. So understanding the benefits and principles of coaching is easy. So there is hardly any discussion, though there's no discussion about does coaching make sense? Doing these trainings, everybody understands very well that there are a lot of benefits. And that's why it is widely and fully accepted. We get a quick buy-in by all the leaders, which is great, and a great foundation for a good program. Even more, it creates energy and enthusiasm. It's not just accepted. They really sit there, want to go out, want to try it. And when they do it, usually the workshops are Saturday, Sunday, Monday they go out, which is beyond all the dreams we ever had. And we see, and they see quick positive results, feedback, and they are impressed, workers and our employees. I would even say that there is actually no risk going this way. So there's nothing wrong in adopting a coaching style. And what we know now, it's working in safety as well. So it's just another area of performance, and applying these principles can help you in safety performance. And it's a great door opener for other areas of performance. So as we see, quality. So it's safety, obviously, is a good start, and then could expand to other areas. And this is, let's say, there are some indication that it's happening also with the Linde. And last message is coaching can be learned. So this is the good thing, but as I said, must be learned. That's it from my side. Thank you very much for listening. And I hand back to you, James.
Yeah, no, thank you, Kai. It's really wonderful, actually, to hear how our coaching style has really helped Linde create a safer workplace. So we'll move on to the Q&A section. So thank you for your questions, everybody who's put them in. So Kai, go with this one. How easy did you find it to bring it into your current culture?
Okay, very good question. Thank you very much. How easy, yeah? Well, I think we had a good foundation. So certainly I could not recommend to make a start when there's nothing in place. But as I said, that we had run through the old, let's say, traditional things, and we had a good commitment in safety across, let's say, the whole organization. And there was a focus on, let's say, continuous improvement. So there was not satisfaction, never. So I was always struggling, again, this incident, and although it's a light one, but so there was a good foundation, I think. And then coaching itself, when we introduced the coaching to our guys, coaching is known. So everybody knows something, at least, maybe not the correct things and all the things about coaching, but coaching is known to have an impact on people. So there is, I can't remember, let's say, ever having heard something bad about it. So coaching is known, let's say, that it has its place in the world. In sports, we know it, but also for some years, we know that it has its place. And there is actually not a dispute about, so that makes it easy to make these workshops and these trainings around coaching. And then when you do these trainings, which is a very experiential training, you immediately realize that's the impact on yourself, the impact that you have when you coach somebody, and that it's not, yeah, it's somehow it seems, let's say, like a miracle what's happening. But on the other hand, you see with a little bit of tweaking your style, with a little bit of, let's say, improving or working on your attitude, and little bit tweaking your style of communication by asking questions, you realize, hey, this is totally different results. You create something totally different. And I think this quick and positive feedback that you receive is here the key, which helped us to introduce this new program quite easily. So we were very concerned about how will this work and so on, but it just went ahead, it just worked, and without big discussions. So yeah, maybe this could give an impression about how it worked and how more or less easy it worked in Linde engineering.
Great, thank you, Kai. Now, just conscious of time, so I'm just going to be a little cheeky and just slip in one more question. We have quite a few, so apologies to those who are not going to answer. We will answer them after in writing, just to say. So the one is, how new is the coaching approach in safety?
How new is the safety approach in safety? Coaching approach. Okay. Well, on the one hand, you read a lot about coaching in safety, as I already said, and you could think of, oh, it's something which is already existing. But when you want to look behind, what is it really? What does it mean? There is nothing behind it, and maybe I share the one or other feedback I received. So I remember my colleague Paul is his name. Paul was working on a site when we introduced this program. We had this workshop and so on. And then I was at that time on the site, having delivered the workshop. And a few days later, he came to my office, bright eyes, open eyes, maybe, and he was very emotional, so very untypical for him. And he just said, "Hey, Kai, I want to share a story with you. You know what just happened? I was going for lunch and I was in the parking lot, and suddenly I heard my name. Somebody was shouting my name, and he approached me and he said, 'Hey, Paul, do you have some minutes?' I said, 'Yes. Thank you very much for the safety dialogue we just had 2 days ago. And let me show you here some pictures.' And he showed him his smartphone and he showed him, here are the pictures of what we did. Yeah. So after, and Paul said, great. And then he continued and said, and here's even more what we did in other areas. And he came to me, told me this story and said, I've never, ever experienced this. And he just wanted to say thank you for having been provided with the opportunity to be part of this program. And he was a experienced safety guy. Or maybe another example, one of our colleagues did a lead safe engagement on a site, and he received the response more or less literally, "Dear Mr. XYZ, thank you very much for this. I'm working in construction now for 20 years. It was actually the first time somebody was interested in my view, and somebody was asking me some questions." This maybe only gives a short impression. So my conclusion is that this is a first of its kind safety program. Also because, let's say, has not only been developed and tested by, let's say, our safety professionals, but also we have partnered with, as you said, the world leader in creating a culture. So there's really professional safety techniques we are using here with obviously proven results in also incident reduction.
That's great. Thank you, Kai. So thank you very much for today's webinar. If you would like any more information, do reach out to either Kai or myself. You can see our email addresses there on the screen now, if we haven't been in contact with you before. And we'll follow up from there. Again, sorry for those people whose questions we didn't answer, but we will come back to you. On that note, thank you very much for everybody joining today's webinar, and we look forward to future webinars coming up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.